Welcome back to Cord Art. It's been a week since I last touched this project due to the coronavirus going around and everything. Not that I've actually had it as yet, but lots of preparations for what's to come. But anyway, I thought today that we'd push on. I want to have a look at some of the bits and pieces on its head, or on his head. Now, as you can see, we'll disregard the broom for the moment. I'll have to do the broom shortly. But if you look at his hat, or his helmet, should we say, he's got these two pieces coming down there, which are zipper zenits. I've made one of those for the next one, and that just tucks up underneath this cobra. So what we're going to do is make one of these in a minute, and I'll tell you what dimensions we need to actually make that, and then we need to go on and make the front of his helmet and the cobra that comes up behind. So let's push on with the zipper zenit for the first part of this tutorial. So pick up 2 feet of cord, and it's gutted. This is a piece that I had left over from previous work that we just done. Divide it into half so that you've got a nice loop at the bottom. Make a loop that side, and on this side we're just going to, if I can get it right, all fingers and thumbs now. Let's try again. So we're going to make a curl there, a loop here, just pass it through and pull down like so. Pull tight on that one, tight on that one, and the one that you can't move, just bring that up round to the back of that loop, back through there, pull down the lasso onto it, pull the slack out of that bottom part of the loop and pull down again. That's the tight one. This is the loose, this is the one that will diminish that loop. Don't want to do that just yet. Back up through, so that was round the back of the loop, up through, pull that part, bottom part of the loop, and then tighten it down. The one that we tightened down with now comes the next loop. So that's behind that first one, up through, like so. Now we need 2 inches of zipper zenit. And I believe that that is 7 stitches, is it? Or is it 8 stitches? Let's have a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8. 8 will do it. So it's just a matter of going backwards and forwards with this zipper. Keep everything nice and tight on it. Glorious day here in England today, really hot, but it's because we're sort of isolated to our homes, and no one can go out, as well, within reason. It's pretty noisy around here, lots of children having a good time, and me trying to do things that I'd like to be quiet with, but then again that comes with age. pulled that one down tight, up around the back there, through, tighten down, all nice and tight. Right, we'll do one more and then count. So what have we got there from the base? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 2 more, I think. 7 or 8. There we go. Like so. Let's just see if we're close on to the other one. I think we need one more stitch there. Yeah, one more stitch, and then we can finish it. So if we put that one through there, tighten that one down, and then that last one, instead of looping it, we can finish it off by pushing that through. Tighten down on it. Make sure they're both nice and tight. Yeah? And then we'll cut and cinch those. Yeah, I really must get back into this project. I've been doing a bit of carving, which has taken precedent, but I would like to finish this. So we've got those 2 pieces now which come down the side of his face. They do bend round like so, no problem whatsoever. So they were 2 foot pieces, 2 foot for that one, 2 foot for that one. Then we want to make and they're 2 inches long, right? The front of the helmet is 4 inches long. So I actually used 4 feet of cord, and I've done that one. So there's the front of his hat, like so. So that's going to be the front of his hat. Now we have to do the back of the cobra, the back, which is a cobra. Now, what we need for that is 32 inches. I'll just double check that I've got hold of the right piece. We need 32 inches. I made one. Yeah, well, I've got 33 inches there. We're going to do a cobra. We only need to travel from one side to the other of his head, which I will measure. Although the other head isn't quite the same dimensions as this one. But we're looking at having 3.5 inches of cobra. And that's going to be made out of all gutted. So I've got 32 inches of gutted cord. I'm going to grab hold of a piece of waste, gutted cord, just double that over in half. And this will be the beginning point. We just loop those 2 over, or that one over, and start tying a cobra. So we go over, under and up through. Just get that first one in the right place, like so. Now this doesn't have to be extremely tight like the zippers. Zippers look better tight. These look better with a little bit of slack in them. So that's the first knot. And I do like the way that these cobras look in gutted cord. Does look good. Whilst I was making the other one, well, the previous one just before this, I found out a little secret about a cobra. I'm not going to give the secret away because I'd like to do a project on it, only a small one, but how to make a cobra look completely different by one simple action. Bit mysterious, I know, but I found it out by accident. But it'd be interesting to show people, so I intend on doing something like that in the future. Right, that one like so. Now once we've made all these bits and pieces, I tend to pin them onto the head so that I can make sure they're in the right place. And it also gives me an idea of how much cord I need to cover the top. Because as I make these, well, the first one of these, a prototype if you like, I never really measure anything because I'm in too much of a rush to go to the next stage. Hence, when I make the second one and try and make a video of it, I have to do all the measuring. As you can appreciate, not having any measurements on the prototype, I tend to waste quite a bit of cord to get the pattern. I just pull that down slightly to there, so that looks fairly neat. It's going to be hidden anyway, but that stays on there like so. I'm hoping that I made my core long enough now. It's alright saying just grab hold of a bit of old slack of gutted cord. I'm pretty sure it will go around there. Let me just double check. Yeah, just about. It just about goes around there. So once I've finished this piece with you, we'll cut it to length, mount it, and then I'm going to assemble all of the parts that I've just made onto the head with pins, ready for gluing. I probably won't glue it with you, but you'll get the general idea on where we're going with things. And as I say, it will also allow us to see how much of the cord that we've got to twirl around in the centre. It obviously goes from back and just under the front. Does look quite nice. I'll bring it to the camera. I think the gutted cobra looks really quite something special. Wondering if that 33 inches is going to be enough now. I might have to increase the length and come back to you, because because I'm just about running out of this one. You tend to do that with cobras, you run out one side before the other. Yeah, so I don't waste your time, what I think I'll do is just tighten that there. Pretty sure I've got to go to about here. Yeah, we're short on about 3 cords. Sorry, 3 stitches, maybe 4. So what we'll do is I'll click off there, redo this with a longer piece of cord. Back shortly. Hi there. So yeah, I ended up in cutting the piece of cord that I needed to do the cobra up to 40 inches. In fact, I cheated a little bit because I joined just there 2 pieces of 20/20 and then carried on down this piece of core. And you think, well, why did he join that up? Well, I've just got my delivery of new cord, and as I said earlier on in one of the filmings, that I'd ordered some more grass green, and this is the grass green that I've been using. It's like a misty matte coloured, and then when I ordered my new ones, I've got 2 more shanks of it. Can you see out when you compare them that this is musky green and this is like a brighter colour? I don't know if it shows up on screen or not. So I'm now limited to quite a small bit to finish the project. I've got enough, but it was touch and go. I mean, this is fine, there's nothing wrong with this, but I just didn't want to swap the colours halfway through. This will be fine for another project with a similar sort of Marvin. But yeah, so that's the reason that I joined 2 bits of 20 and 20. So all I've got to do now is snip that off. The core, by the way, was a piece of cord. That's 7, so it was 14 inches. A piece of spare cord, folded over, 14 inches, and then do a cobra along it. And I've got this just to the right length that I need. I mean, you need final tailoring. I mean, there's his front of his helmet just pinned on like so, and I've been using this as a guide. Now obviously this one's got to go underneath these 2, but again the 2 side bits go underneath the back piece. I'll show you as I put it together, but let's just snip those off for the moment and melt. Right, so that's the back of our helmet. I think where we've got to start here is take this one off and decide where we're going to have these coming round like so to the sides. I'm quite happy with it looking like that. Let's make sure that I've got the end that I want, because you inevitably get a better end than the other, and that's where I've done all the messing about with melting. So we're going to have that one to the top. There's his face, that's the back, so that's going to come round like so, and we're going to put 2 pins in there just to keep it in position. Like so, and then we're going to have a look at the next one. That one's got the melted end on it, so he can go that way, like so. Make sure that they angle about right, about the same. Pin in there, pin in, small pin, and bring that one up just a tad, pin in there. It's not an exact science, but it's nice if you can keep them quite equal. Now, the back goes on next. It covers over the two at the back and goes round to the sides. Now, you'll see that I put 2 pins in down low on this. They do really need to be in there. Now, the reason I put them low is because I didn't want to have to leave them in there like I did on the original, but they're getting in the way. So those 2 pins there will actually stay in the project, like so. Go back to our back bit again. We might have to lower these a little bit, either side, but let's stick a pin where we think we need to put one. I'll stick one there. And one there. See how that looks? As I say, I want this down further. Well, sorry about that interruption. I have placed all these green parts where I want them now. You can see a fid sticking out the top because I've made a hole in the middle, or closest to the middle as I can. You'll notice that well, I've actually glued these down, so we can take these pins out now. You'll notice that I've got a gap there. That's intentional. Now what I need to do is work out that's why I've left the fid in there. I mean, that fid hole is obviously for the broom when it goes back on, when I make it. But at the moment I just want to, if I can find the end of this cord, I want to work out how much cord we need to twirl around this pin. Yeah, doesn't matter where you start really. I'm just going to put that in there and follow on round with my pins again. That's going to go like so, and then we can start twirling it around. Hoping I'm in shot. We can pull that a bit tight round there. This is not gutted, this is just ordinary cord. And as we make our way outwards, I'm going to put a pin in here and there so we don't lose our place, it doesn't all spring out on us. Like so. Of course, the fid helps us do this, and it also prevents us covering the hole where the broom's going to go down. Time for another pin, I think. Might have to play around with this a little bit. I'll stick one in there. and go down inside the helmet. We can push the helmet down a little bit. Squash that down. Let's put a pin over there, just about there. Might need a few more pins in this. Starting to bunch up as I'm trying to force one in there, one in there. How close are we getting? Yeah, there's still a little bit of a gap at the back. I mean, I'm not too worried at the front because the helmet comes up, but we'll persevere. I'm going to put another pin towards the back if I can get it in. For some reason it won't. There we go. Bring that one down like so. So make sure that we're not going to lose it. As I say, that one forces down through there. I want to try and get that last one to finish up here. So we might have to play around with forcing it down a little bit. Let's put another pin in the front. Let's take that pin out for the moment. Bit of surgery. Push that one down the side. That's it, it's just going now. I'll have to play with it. And that's where I'm going to go to. Like so. And that's going to be just tucked underneath the helmet there. I'll probably do this again and glue it because it's starting to ride up the pin. But yeah, that's the idea with the hat. Doesn't look anything like it's going to look when it's finished. I mean, this one looks quite neat compared with that one. So I'll take my time with that and I'll come back to you. Well, here we go. This is all the green parts with his hat there, all glued in, ready for the next stage. Now there's 2 or 3 stages on this head. Just show you this. There's one of his eyes. Well, that's not one of his eyes, it's a prototype. As you can see, I cut mine out of greetings cards to a world-class granddad who's wise, witty and wonderful. I wouldn't argue about that, but I like using the glossy card on cards. So with my master one, I've just drawn out on there in biro. What I'll do next is cut them out, ready to go on this one. What else we've got to do to this head? Got to make a very short neck, just there. Now that's a square knot coming from the head down to the body. What I'm going to do there is the next stage is I've made another hole up through as well as the one that's going down for his broom hat. This one is going to have a piece of wire going in covered in cord, and then I'm going to come down about 1/4 to half an inch of neck. I'll show you me doing that, but I'm just going to go and have some dinner now, so I'll leave it there. But the idea is that we put a small neck and a hat on top, and we're starting to get somewhere. I keep sort of looking at where are we with this project. So we've basically got the broom, the neck, the arms, and to attach these. And now I've got a little trick up my sleeve, but I'm trying not really to go into a fourth video, because this is number 3 of how many it is, but I've got a feeling it might go into 4, but this is the 3rd one. But we are getting there, slowly but surely. Bear with me and we'll see it to the end. I'll say cheers for now and come back to you shortly. Welcome back to Cord Art. Continuing with the head. As you can see, he's got his eyes on now. I glued those on earlier on. They look quite good. Not quite finished with them. I might just give them a coat of varnish so that they shine a little bit, and they'll have a white dot on each pupil. Also started the neck. I cut myself a piece of 3.5 inch 2mm cord, covered that in put a piece of wire in there of did I say 2.5? I meant, yeah, 2.5 inches, and a 2.5 inch piece of wire inside, and that went up into the head. Got myself 2 pieces of 2mm cord. No, that's whole cord, it's not gutted. And then just did a square knot. Put one loop through two of the threads on the head, and the 2 at the back of the wire, so you can see there that it's coming on nicely. So I've cut a little circle of 2mm. If you look at the original, he's got a little bit of up the top there, he's got a bit of cord around there just to finish things off. So what we're going to do next is, before we cut these off, I've done about 4 or 5 stitches down this wire, just making sure that they're nice and tight. And then I've looped this around that, a piece of cord, found the length, cut it, melted them together. But before I cut these, I just want to thread all of those through that loop. Makes it easier getting it on. This might be a bit fiddly, but we'll get there. So all 4 of those cords through that loop. Here's the 4th one. Come on. Right, there's the 4th one. We've got to make sure that it goes over the wire as well. So we're going to bring it down over the wire, like so. Make sure that the join is at the back, which it is, and then just work it down over the threads and up to the top of the head, or top of the neck, should we say. Then we're just going to make sure that those are fully tightened, and cut those off and heat them. If I can find the lighter, there it is. Scissors. You could put one at the base of the neck as well, but I didn't bother, because the base of the neck will actually dive down into the body. So that's good. I've made a hole in the top of the new body, and he'll go down in like so. He'll be glued in eventually. That's looking quite good. Quite similar to the original, not exactly the same. I've found this when I try to repeat projects. Ball sizes and cords act in a different way. Right, so that's that bit. Now let's turn our attention to the broom. Now the broom is quite easy to make. What I've actually got here is a piece of cord. Let's just give you some measurements. Piece of any brown really. This is a light tan, same as the original. I just measured out a piece of cord about 3.5 inches long, and then another piece of cord at total length of 20 inches. Now the idea of this is you get the smaller piece, you hold all three, you melt the middle one, which I've done, and then squash the two outer ones onto it. That gives you a core to play with. Making sure I'm online, yeah, that gives you a core to play with. And then we can actually make the base by doing a cobra. Now this does need to be quite tight. Just make, as usual, make sure you get the first one where you want it. So there we go. Nice and tight. Push it down if it'll bear it. Like so. And we only need about 4 ties, 4 or 5 ties to make the broom, or part of the broom. I like to give the core another little bit of a pull there, just so that we square it up a little bit. Right, just about there. I'll just have a count. 3 and 2. I want 4 and 3. That's the arches that go along there. So we need another one, and that'll give us 4 and 3. I won't make the whole broom with you. So that's going to be that part, yeah, like so. So a 20-inch piece of cord wrapped round, I think I said it was 3.5, but there's plenty there. You only really need the core to be a couple of inches, but you need a bit to play with. We'll cut them off. And mount. There we go, hiding from me again. Right, so that's our base to the small broom. Then what have I got? I've got myself a piece of the same colour brown. It's about 1.5 to 2 inches long, and I've put a piece of wire inside of it so that it stays quite solid. And then we're going to go down through the knot, hopefully. Right, so there we go. So we got it basically through, so we're just going to pull it through so it disappears. Just to about there, maybe a tad more. So we've got it like so. I'm going to give that a little bit of soup. Well, it's not quite through far enough for my liking. I'm going to push it through onto my bench. There we go, that's squarer. And I'm just going to touch that with super glue. So it doesn't come out later. Also made another little circle, as you can see, on the top of the, or just underneath the broom. There's another little bit of finishing cord, and all I did with that was to wrap it around a fid, cut the dimensions, and as you can see I've mounted that. Got to be pretty careful when you're doing that, you can burn your fingers otherwise. Then we'll just slide that one up to it, making sure that I've got all the itsy bitsy bits. It's like the round bit is to the back, the join to that is at the back. Spot of super glue just there. And we have the beginning of a broom. Now, the next thing we need to do is we're going to use yellow gutted cord. This is a slightly thinner fid than the one I've just been trying to pass through. But the idea of this is you come up through in various different places. Perhaps I should have tied this knot a little bit slacker, because I can see that I'm going to have a few problems getting it through. But this is how I made the original, like so. Bring that yellow up through as well. Bring it up to so that it's just disappearing into the broom head. Don't pull it through because it's a wasted effort otherwise. And then cut that one off. You can get it about to the right dimensions, but we can cut it again afterwards. Up through again, hopefully. Let's take that fid off of there. Work it through. Bring it up again. To there, cut off more or less to the same dimensions. So we're going to put about oh, my little what's it's come undone, so we're going to stick that back on. That's just fallen back off, so we'll stick that back on in a minute. So I'm going to carry on and do, I don't know, there seems to be an awful lot on the original. Must have been much slacker weave on the actual top, but we'll get a few in, and then the idea will be that we'll fray all these with a pin. I'll just show you that. On one of them. And that's how we get the effect of the broom. So I'm going to carry on and get as many as I can through so it looks reasonable. And I'll come back to you. I've got a feeling that I might have been offline on all of that, but there you go. That's how it looks. By passing the yellow one up through to the end. At the end of this section, we'll just touch of super glue underneath. So I'll come back to you when I've completed that bit. Well, there's an easy solution to everything. I mean, I thought about this hat and there it is, or this broom rather. And where I was having all that trouble getting my fit up through the base, that's what you need, a spike. Very nice as well, makes life so much easier. I wish I'd remembered that I'd got it. But yeah, there's the brush completed. All we did was put the yellow up several times after going through with the spike, and just spray it with a pin, trim it to size, not too bad at all. So the next thing we'll be doing is the body, or the arms. Now I've decided that I'm going to have the arms through there and back down to there. So he's got his arms on his hips, something like that. I've cut myself a piece of wire 8 inches long from there to there. Give myself plenty more of the 2mm gutted cord that I've actually put over the top of it. Got a fid, made sure I know where his leg holes are, one here, one there, and put that through. Now I've got to be a bit careful because his head does come down through as well, so we've got to maneuver, but it does go in like so. So what I'm going to do now is cut myself some more 2mm cord, work out the sizing, and then I'm going to work a square knot right the way along that remaining piece. Once I've found the centre from there to there, from there to there, I'm going to start doing a square knot. So I'll get myself 2 pieces of 2mm cord, loop in there, come out this way. Again, two pieces of 2mm cord, loop in there, pull them out. So we got four pieces of cord coming that way, 4 pieces of cord coming that way, tie a square knot that side and tie a square knot that side. Once I've done that, I'll come back to you. Welcome back. Change things slightly. As you can see, he is progressing. When I left you last time, I said that we'd put in an 8-inch piece of wire covered by cord for the core of his arms. Well, I had to reduce that to 5 inches, so we had 2.5 inches either side. I then got hold of 2 lots of 20-inch pieces of cord for the right hand side and 2 pieces of 20-inch 2mm cord for the left side. Did a square knot coming out. His arms then bend down. You can see that I've put 2 bits of white ring around his arms, because that's the wrist part on the glove. Yeah, so they're ready and waiting. Now what we've got to do, just to recap, we've got to make him some hands. So I've made one hand here, halfway through making another. We'll complete that together. I wanted to show you how I go about putting his skirt on. Yeah, like so. Now there's no easy way of doing this, and there's quite a few considerations concerning how strong they're going to be on the actual item. So what I chose to do is bib and braces. I mean, they will be glued from below by my glue gun, but to be able to position them where we want them, what I've done is cut a 1/2 inch piece of green cord, gutted it, glued a pin into that piece there. I've done that to all of these. This is the last one to do it to. You can see that my little triangle there, I've chose to put the cut off end underneath. I'm going to position that so that I've got it glued there so I can pin it into the body. Once I'm happy with where it's positioned, as I say, I'm going to fully glue it, but just for this purpose I'm going to super glue that stripped out piece to the base, like so. And then I'll position that into the bottom of the body, like so. Don't know if I can hold it all together, it's all a bit flimsy. But there you go. And I'm off shot again. There you go. All those have got pins in them, pushing in like so. It allows us to position them where that we want them. Once we've done that, I won't do that online, I'll let that glue dry. Once we've got it into the position, as I say, I'll be putting my legs in with a glue gun, and I'll be putting a touch of glue gun glue on each of those. Yeah. On the original, I glued his head in to with super glue, and I'll probably do that again because the glue gun can get a little bit messy underneath. Right, so that's that part. We've got his arms. They're 2.5 inches long with cord running down them, a square knot. He's got his little wristbands. So we're almost there. And we've got to think about his hands. I want his hands to be something like that, so that he's got his hands on his let's just see if we can maneuver that over to the screen a little bit better. So yeah, his hands go like that, one either side. Now how do we achieve his hands? Quite basic really, but quite a bit of work in it. Marvin's only got 4 fingers, which is a godsend because the 5th one does give it a bit of hassle on projects. What I've done is the outer U shape, make sure I'm online, the outer U shape is 2 inches long. I've actually put a piece of cord over a 2-inch piece of wire, yeah, tied a snake knot round it. Then I've got hold of a 1 3/4 inch piece of wire for the 2 middle fingers, covered it in cord and put a snake knot along there. Now that's his left hand, because I've made his thumb a little bit thicker and shorter than the 2 middle fingers. So that one's done. I've done his right hand, and that's the 2 outer, that one and that one, going, well, this is, yeah, like that. So that's 2 inches covered in gutted 2mm white cord. Now I've chose to gut it because it's a bit more intricate. I left the arms in full cord because there was enough room and the bulk was needed, but on the hands it's gutted cord. So how do we I'm going to make these 2 middle fingers with you. So I've got a 1 3/4 inch piece of wire going down inside of that stripped out 2mm cord, and I'm going to just melt that over. Right on the end. Yeah. again, we'll just cut that a little bit proud. Melt that one over. Then we need a 20-inch piece of gutted cord, 2mm, white. We're going to put that core in the centre of the bend where we've halved the cord, like so. And we're just going to touch on that bend up there with a touch of super glue. Bring it round, squash it slightly, hopefully don't stick to it, like so. That gives us a core and 2 cords. Now we can go ahead and tie our snake knot. If we keep the top one parallel to the core, bring that one over the top, bring that one round underneath the crossover point, back through the loop, and position the first knot right at the end near where we put the glue. Now, because they're middle fingers, I've taken it right to the end. Nice tight knot. As you can see, with his thumb, I've left him a little sort of bit more on there because it looks like a thumb, if you see what I mean. Looks like a thumb. And we just continue with that snake knot. Right to the end on this one. What I think I'll do is I'll complete this with you, and that will be more or less the end of the tutorial, because all the other bits are just a matter of positioning them where they need to be, and gluing them. And it's not very well, I don't like gluing things because I like tying the knots, but when you're making these sort of projects, you could make them without glue, but it'd be very difficult. So once I finish this, I will be gluing it inside of there so that it looks like that, and then I will be having a big glue up, and I'll come back to you. Welcome back. Well, there he is. That's the look I was looking for. His elbows out, his hands on his skirt, defying the world. Let's bring him down a little bit. He's just out of shot. I'm going to bring him forward. So there he is. Yeah, completed project. I really want to thank you for watching if you've managed to go right the way through all 3 videos. I never intend on sort of making them long. It's just that there's so much work in them that they do take a time. So he's found his buddy. Let's just move that round slightly. So he's found his buddy. Chicken's looking on in the background. Yeah. And all is well. And we'll see you in the future. But one of these tutorials will link to the next. All the best, and the best to all of yours. Thank you. Bye-bye.